Hi, this is my presentation for Industry Engagement. My name is Simon Buchek. Let's begin. So let's start off with the project objectives. In total, there were 8 objectives that I wanted to achieve throughout the module referral. The first one was to create an asset pack that was available and usable for prototyping games, ideas, testing, etc. Just pretty much being able to take assets, throw them into Unity, and be able to just create a prototype very easily and quickly. Next one was to release the asset pack on the Unity store, Asset Store, and itch.io. Initially, it was only going to be released on the Unity Asset Store, but at the current moment, the pack is awaiting approval. Therefore, it's first being released on itch.io while I wait for the approval and the review from Unity, which takes between 1 and 2 weeks. The third objective was to just improve my own planning and be able to set tasks within a timeline of the next 12 months so that everything is more scheduled and that I have a better understanding of what I want to do, when I want to do it, what is available, what opportunities are available for me, pretty much just that. Then we go over into the improving my marketing on social media, mainly Instagram. However, in the current situation, my Instagram has been once again banned, just like previously. So I have to try to get this time. I'm going to try to actually get it back because I've put a bit more effort into it the last time. But pretty much it was just trying to make sure that uh, I improve my ability to market products and whatnot over social media. Twitter is also one that I'm going to try to use more. But yeah, Instagram was the main one I was trying to do. Then the next one was to create a product that I can continue working on and maintain it in the future. With the asset pack, I am able to add new assets based on user feedback. I can add fixes. In overall, I can just add a lot to it that allows the product itself to grow, expand, maybe even split off onto another asset pack that's very themed or something along those lines. And additionally, there was also want to provide an asset pack that shows an understanding of how game design works in terms of what game designers and developers require when they're prototyping uh, games or just making prototypes. Um, this pretty much just forces me to create assets that work with prototyping. They're not just any regular assets, they're not just some fancy assets that someone just chucks in and makes their game beautiful. It's just to get some assets, put them into Unity, and be able to create a prototype easily. And lastly, it is to just be able to learn to utilize tools in terms of planning and maintaining my personal involvement within the industry. So being able to set schedules, using roadmaps, being able to keep track of when I want to release things, and just being able to use those tools efficiently because I haven't released I have used those tools before on projects but not in like my personal life. Yeah. Oh, actually that wasn't the last one. The last one was to create a content that can receive feedback, which allows me to improve myself, improve my skills, and improve the content of the asset pack as well. So yeah. Okay, now we're into the SWOT analysis. So the SWOT analysis Okay. The SWOT analysis was pretty much just going over what the product is, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Overall, the strengths were just having the experience of creating assets, the asset pack being free, it being optimized, meaning that people can easily do it on weaker machines, having asset leverage, considering there's going to be a lot of assets in the future. It's a great portfolio piece since it's constantly expanding and it shows productivity as well as being able to get feedback and make changes to it, as well as pricing power since it's free and it just gives me that extra leverage of being able to get pretty much just be able to have an asset that isn't based on the price, meaning that anyone can try it out, everyone can give me feedback, etc. Um, Yeah, opportunities, yeah, once again, feedback, possibility of expansion, yeah, all of this was pretty much mentioned. There were a few threats, large, just like it does require quite a bit of testing these sort of asset packs. Um, there might be no interest in it since there is other asset packs out there. They do cost a price, unfortunately. So fortunately for me, that's a good thing since it's free. The competition is quite high since there is a couple of asset packs. They're not specifically for prototyping, but they have a large variety of different assets. Um, yeah, obviously weaknesses, lack of scale. At the moment, it's just a one-man team. It's going to be expanded to a two-man team. Yeah, and yeah, online presence not very big. Haven't been able to put much marketing or anything into it, and the brand hasn't really been noticed by anyone at the moment. Now, mind maps. One of the first mind maps I created was just for the module itself. We had milestones that I was trying to reach, and when I was reaching them, I was keeping up to date, planning what exactly I had to do, video presentation, which is this, releasing the asset pack, creating the asset pack. Then the personal development is quite big, but just to keep it short, we had the releases, which was just the Unity, just making sure what I want to release, when I want to release it, what I'm able to release. Software, just general software I'm using, what I want to improve, my portfolio, then just improvement in my general personal skills, level design, a few links that give a lot of information, improving my 3D environment art, and just getting more comfortable with it, as well as my 3D props, which would essentially all of this would end up being in the prototype asset pack in the future as well. Then game jams, if these three game jams are ones that I found that I want to be actually competing in or being in. Then competitions, there's a CS:GO map making contest, really big. Really excited to start that. ArtStation contests keep showing up every few months. I'm gonna keep checking them to see what shows up, and I'm still waiting for a Killing Floor 2 map making contest that has just happened this year, but unfortunately I missed it. Then the asset pack, pretty much just making sure that everything when it comes to the submission guidelines that fits perfectly. Marketing, making sure that I keep track of what I'm working on, seeing what other products there are, and what's out on the market. Then the MVP the MVP of the product was pretty much just making sure that everything fits with the documentation, everything fits with the regulations and submission guidelines by the Unity Asset Store. It's free, so everyone can use it. Contains assets which are able to create prototypes, a demo scene showcasing those assets, and being able to expand the product in the future, as well as the most important ones. Pretty much everything that was in the previous ones, just in one little mind map, just so that I was aware of what I had to do. Then the timeline, relatively big, but I would say it keeps everything that I want to do in a relatively uh, compact way. I would say it is quite, um, it does get quite congested here, but quite a lot of the stuff here is going to be very small bits of work over a course of like a few weeks, which isn't going to be like 5 hours a day. It's going to be maybe like 10 hours in a week, something like that, spread across 3 days, and then something else another time. But yeah, try to keep it towards here. It kind of cuts off at the beginning of 2020. That's because depending how this goes, the rest of the year will change. So yeah, 12 months, project development, personal development, just a bunch of game jams, release dates and milestones I want to achieve, and just general portfolio improvement. The roadmap pretty basic, keeps track of what I was doing, what I was achieving, like my planning, then researching, asset creation, setting up the project, making sure everything works, marketing, then actually submitting the stuff and releasing it. Then we have marketing. So Instagram, I can't get any data since my account is banned. On Twitter, I started making posts around, I think I was supposed to start on the 6th, but I ended up doing it a bit later in the week, I think on the 7th or the 8th. But yeah, this was pretty much my impressions. Some of it isn't fully updated yet because the last 2 days haven't really shown up in this on these statistics, but they were even bigger than the previous ones. So the impressions would be at least 300 at this point. And then in the release of the actual asset pack, which is on the Unity Asset Store and HIO. Currently on the HIO, it's being released there. It will most likely be kept on HIO, but I don't know if I will do it because of the constant updating of it and etc. But on the Unity Asset Store, it will be there. It will be again updated. It has two demo scenes, one with a dark scene, one with a light scene, just to be able to see the assets in a dark environment and a light environment. Overall, the assets, currently there is 57 assets. Yeah, 57 assets. Um, at the moment, it's just props and environmental stuff, but the asset pack will improve and go into things like vehicles, character models, more environment stuff like trees, and just other things that anyone can make a game with it pretty much. So if someone wants to make a game with aliens riding a ambulance, they can. So yeah, I think that's going to be the end of it. So thank you for listening and yeah, bye.